Hi, Ryu here. I'm a UX designer and also a founder of Real World UX. Today, I wanted to cover this topic: how to get buy-ins from engineers on your concept. Okay, let's dive in. At the end of the day, it boils down to building a mutual trust to work better together. But there are a few things that a UX designer should understand to make this work better in general. Number one, engineers are busy. Implementing the front end is only a tip of an iceberg of what engineers need to do. In their mind, building the functionality part is the top priority so that the feature actually works, regardless of how it looks and feels. Number two, establish we are in this together mentality. Even though engineers are busy, it's important to bring in engineers as early as possible into your design process. Engineers want to be informed in the early phase of the design, instead of a UX designer working in a silo and only does a design handoff once the design is complete. Involving such engineers in early discussions in the design process contributes to make them feel part of it, make them feel the ownership of the project together with you. The more engaged everyone in the team becomes, the more synergy the team gets. The idea of having engineers involved in the design process is to avoid back and forth corrections of the final product when the development is done. If the feedback is continuous throughout the design and development process for both roles, a UX designer and engineers, working together becomes much more smooth and comfortable. Number three, engineers want to be efficient. Engineers want to simplify their code as much as possible so that they don't need to worry about maintaining too many conditions branching out or making slightly different instances. This tends to go against UX designers' asks. UX designer puts priority on how to make things easier for a user. This tends to create various different variations out of essentially the same thing. If the perceived value for a user is big, this is fine. But if not, engineers tend to deprioritize those the first thing. Number four, engineers need specificity. When any implementation task is in development, all edge cases and variations need to be considered. Working closely with engineers to anticipate and identify all possible cases is important. Relatedly, high-quality design specification will help engineers be more productive and build trust to your work and design deliverables. So while it's perfectly healthy to work iteratively, delivering UX design with many missing details in the first place could force engineers to redo the front-end work multiple times. This will not only delay the feature completion, but also annoy and exhaust the team, which could negatively impact the team's motivation. Be proactive and find opportunities to give feedback to engineers as early as possible. This will substantially help avoid undoing already completed work. Number five, some engineers are interested in wild, innovative future ideas. If you are lucky enough to have such engineers for your project, that's a great opportunity for you to get their buy-ins and get them excited about your wild concept. Once you get your engineers excited about your concept, that's a win for you. Those engineers will become your strong advocates and could potentially go an extra mile to implement something amazing. From an engineer's perspective, a basic and boring design may end up boring engineers and lowering their motivations, which is counterproductive. Whereas a wildly new, exciting design that brings a lot of new user values might have a bigger risk, but the reward is higher. Engineers' excitements and motivations go up. As a result, an overall outcome could be a lot more positive. But we need to keep in mind that not all engineers are like that. Also, not all the projects have such room to push. It's also about risk-averse versus risk-tolerant for engineers as well as for a project. A lot of times, having a close collaboration with engineers throughout the design and development process might have a stronger impact on the quality of the final product than the design quality of the Figma prototype. Ultimately, the Figma prototype is not a final product that customers use. It's just a blueprint. What engineers build is the final product that customers use. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like it, click like and subscribe. Feel free to put comments, requests, and suggestions. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.